Carey has spoken to us many times in the past, and he'll be back here in February, I think, or sometime, I don't know. And so we get him in twice a year because he's quite entertaining, and he knows more about computers than you can believe. So here's Carey.
I knew when I got this working that it was gonna do this.
You want to use it? Or?
Yeah, I'll use this mic. All right. Hopefully this will come back on. There it is. All right. Does anybody? Oh, I said that too soon. Has anybody here not seen me before? Oh, bunch of you. Good, good, good. All right. So I can use a bunch of my old material. That's good. For those of you who haven't seen me before, my name is Carey Holzman. I have authored a book. Back in 2003, I wrote this book, which I'm not here to sell you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I know. Are you sitting down? I know when I was a member of the PC user group, Phoenix, they'd have corporations send a spokesman who would have a PowerPoint presentation and told us to hold our questions till the end. And that's usually when the lights went out and I snuck out the back. So I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I run a computer repair business out of my home in Glendale, and I've worked at Intel and APS and SRP and authored the book. The whole point of the book, and the reason I brought that up, was the publisher did not do anything to promote the book. And so I went around to computer clubs around the Valley, Southern California, and Las Vegas to promote the book, and I haven't stopped. I really enjoy the idea of a computer user group of users helping users. And that's what we're going to try and do here today. So, welcome to beautiful sunny Arizona. I know many of you have just come in from the rain from Arizona. Here's the way this presentation is going to work, by the way. I've got a couple topics I'm going to talk about. And at any time, if you have a question, related or unrelated to the topic, for all I care, you can raise your hand or shout it out, and we'll try and get the microphone over to you so everybody can hear you, and I'll do my best to answer your question. There's a number of things I want to talk about, which I'm going to kick things off with. And I will say those of you who participate and ask a question will enjoy this presentation more than those who just are spectators, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it either way. Hopefully we'll have a good time laughing and learning, and hopefully in that order. For example, they told me this day was going to come. Yeah, laugh. Go ahead. I know, right? Did my IQ go up?
Yes.
I can do gestures like this. It's more of a, I think it's more of a prop. Okay, so this doesn't help me read my writing. Okay, a couple things. Have you guys talked at all about Windows 10? Has anybody spoke to you about Windows 10?
No.
Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Windows 10. There is no Windows 9. Windows 9 is Windows 10. What happens is once the public has made up their mind that an operating system is bad, in the case of Windows Millennium or Windows Vista, even when they resolve the problems as they did in Windows Vista, there's no undoing the damage or the mindset of the public. They've just said, they've made up their mind it's junk. So Microsoft just says, we cannot alter the impression the public has of this product, so we have to come out with another product. So they stop development on Windows Vista. They start development on Windows 7. They focus all their efforts on that. Windows 7 was very well received. Windows 8, they fixed a lot of issues with it. It still has some issues, which we can get into later if you want to know what those are. But they really improved it, and it is a good operating system. Its main issue is its interface. It lacks consistency in its interface, and without a start menu, that throws a lot of people off and being unable to find the programs that they've installed, me included. And despite the fixes on Windows 8, they cannot get that stigma out of the public's mind. So the next logical step would be Windows 9, and there's a few rumors as to why the name Windows 9 wasn't used. I'm going to go with the one that I think is the reason, which is marketing. it's too close to Windows 8. They need to separate themselves from Windows 8 as much as possible. There's a technical reason that they claim that when you go to install a piece of software and it looks for Windows 9X, like Windows 95, 98, Millennium, when it sees Windows 9, it's going to think you're in Windows 95, 98. It's going to think that because it'll say version 9 and it only looks at the first number. Remember the whole Y2K thing where it only looked at the last two? Okay, well that's how they did it back in the day. They just looked at the first number of the version. So they can't have two Windows 9s. And that's another excuse. And there's a couple others, but who knows what the real reason is. But the bottom line is that Windows 10 will be the next version of Windows. It should be out this fall, maybe a little bit earlier. It's available to download and play with. It's not done yet, and it will crash, and I wouldn't put it on a machine that's important to you if you wanted to play with it. If you enjoy frustration, and you have a lot of time on your hands, check it out. It's free. It won't be free when it's released. It's free now because it's in beta and they want to get feedback from the public. They fixed the start menu issue, and hopefully that'll be in the final version. And it's what they should have done right out of the gate, in my opinion, with Windows 8. I guess I'm a poet there. This laptop here has Windows 8 on it. And I could put Windows 7 on this laptop. Excuse me. Yes?
I'm running Windows 7, and if I wanted to try Windows 10, but I need a hardware upgrade.
No, you will not need a hardware upgrade. In fact, Windows 10 requires less resources than Windows, I think it's more like Windows XP. So it's very low on resources.
Are you running 8 or 8.1?
This is 8.1. Yeah. Nobody should be running 8. Everybody should. When I say 8, I mean the latest version of 8, which is 8.1. There will be no 8.2. There will be no other service packs for Windows 8. They're trying to separate themselves from Windows 8 as much as possible and focus all of their efforts on Windows 10. This all sounds familiar. It's like deja vu all over again. The Windows 10 beta, you can download something called a virtual machine, and you can install it as a program on your computer, but it's far too complex for me to get into right now. But if you Google that, if you're interested, there are steps online that will walk you through that process. So yeah, you can actually install Windows 10 as a program inside of Windows 7 or Windows 8. What I was going to say is I could put Windows 7 on this if I wanted to, but this has a touch screen on it, and I will lose the touchscreen functionality if I go to Windows 7. And again, Windows 8 actually is a decent operating system. It's the interface was really where they dropped the ball. It does one thing on one interface one way and another thing on another interface another way, a completely different way. And there's some people that are very passionate about this. Unfortunately, if you buy a new computer today, you're going to get Windows 8. And like every operating system that came before it, if you buy a computer within a few months of Windows 10 being released, you will probably get a free upgrade to 10. And then within a few more months prior to its release, say 6 months, you'll probably get a discount on upgrading to Windows 10. But whatever you get on the shelf, you know, if you go to the store to buy a computer, you're going to get Windows 8.1. So there's really no getting away from it, really. Now, there's been some news been going. Oh, I'm sorry.
Before you get on that, you
Yeah.
say that 10's going to be out this fall?
This fall.
As in the next 3 weeks?
Next year.
This is wintertime, isn't it?
No.
I'm confused. When is fall for you? It's usually in September, August, September.
Till December 21st, it's fall.
Oh, it's fall now.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I'm with you now. Okay, gotcha. No, it's not going to be out this year. It's, you know, I do that with the Super Bowl. I'm like, you know, this year's Super Bowl happened last January. I mean the one coming up, the fall that's coming up. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. I need to pay more attention to that.
Yes.
And 2015.
Say yes.
Fall of 2015. No, the problem is, I'm filming, I've got a YouTube channel here and I've got a lot of how-to videos and other presentations. And if my battery lasts and everything works like it's supposed to, then this presentation will be up there as well. Now I'm going to throw a lot of information at you today, so hopefully you got a pen and paper, but if you don't, I'll be sure to send the video to you guys and the link to it, and you can share it with everybody. So what I was going to say is that you're going to see news bulletins about Windows 7 support ending in January, this coming January. Don't panic. There's two types of support. There's the normal support, and then there's extended support. And extended support for Windows 7 doesn't end until 2020. So if you have Windows 7 and you see these news bulletins that, these support's ending, that's mainstream support that's ending. Don't worry about it. Just, you'll still get updates and everything. XP's mainstream support for Service Pack 3 ended about 4 or 5 years before XP support stopped entirely. And when XP support stopped back in April, I hope nobody here is using XP, and if you are, I hope you're not on the internet with it. You haven't been getting any updates since April, which is a huge, huge risk to identity theft. So that's the danger in running an unsupported operating system. But again, Windows 7 will be in extended support, and it's also important to note that Office 2003, that includes Word, Excel, Outlook, that stopped support as well at the same time XP did. So if you have either of those products and you are on the internet, I suggest you upgrade as quickly as possible, or, wait until you have to. One or the other is going to happen. Yes?
The file,
The file format, though, can still be used, right? Like,
For Office.
I like to send everybody it in a DOC file.
Oh, yeah.
Because people don't have the latest versions.
Yeah, one of the things that happened and was introduced in Office 2007, I'm sure you've seen it, is the X moniker that's been put on the like Word documents, Excel documents. Typically, when you create a Word document, it ends in .doc. And Microsoft was trying to enhance what Word can do, but at the same time make it still compatible with previous Word documents. Sometimes, being compatible is what holds you back. And in Microsoft's case, they've been suffering from this. If they make it not compatible, then everybody gets angry that I have to buy all new printers, scanners, all new software. But then the benefit of that is everything runs a lot faster and better, in theory. That's the idea behind it anyway. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Right now, Windows 7, Windows 8, and what will be Windows 10 will be 3 supported operating systems. Like I said, Windows 7 will be in extended support until 2020. XP, Office 2003. This is a hard thing to explain because if it hasn't happened to you, then you're probably not too worried about it. But once your identity is stolen and you spend 2 years and, I don't know, what's the average, $3,000 to get it all fixed, you'll understand why I'm stressing the importance of not using XP on the internet. So I don't want to be, hey, doom, the sky is falling. I don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen, but you're increasing your odds of having it happen to you every day after support ended in April, with 75,000 new viruses on average released each and every day. And then getting anybody to fix it is a whole nother issue. Yes?
Could you describe briefly the difference between extended support and regular support?
Yeah, basically regular support. Well, let's do it this way. How many people here have called Microsoft for support? That's normal support. So extended support would be, see, most people don't even call Microsoft. But the extended support would be you have to pay some money if you want to call them and talk to them, and that they're going to continue to release updates, and that's primarily what extended support is about. Just keeping you running and secure until you get to the next operating system. And of course, everybody pushes it to the last minute. And it has just now occurred, just recently, that Windows 8 has surpassed Windows XP in desktops as far as what's being used on the internet. And XP was large and in charge for 13, 14 years, which is insane because Microsoft is supposed to come out with a new operating system every 3 to 4 years, or 2 to 4 years. And so the shareholders were quite upset when XP was not replaced for that length of time. And it created you've got a turmoil between the consumer and the shareholder. And Microsoft only answers to the shareholders, as any corporation in this country does. So some of the things you may see that don't make sense would make sense if you bought some shares in Microsoft. So yes, Office 2007, Office 2010, Office 2013 are all backwards compatible to the .doc format. By default, they will save in the .docx format. You can change that to change the default to .doc, or folks can download a free Office version like LibreOffice or OpenOffice, and that will open those XLSX, which are the Excel documents from 07 and newer, DocX, which are the Word documents from Office 07 and newer. So there shouldn't be any reason you have to convert it for somebody else. Although I do the same thing. I always save as a .doc file. I still don't like the DocX. Let me go back to my notes. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have been contacted by somebody over the telephone in the last 6 months that says that your computer's infected with a virus and they're calling on behalf of Microsoft, or they're calling on behalf of... Is anybody getting those calls? Has anybody paid any money to those people? Okay.
There are people here who have those.
Yeah, you look, it's unfortunate, but the best advice I can give you, I've got a video up here called Scamming the Scammers, where a customer called me and said, there's a guy on the phone, says he's from Windows Technical Department, and he says, I've got a virus, and they want $200 to remove it, and he wants access to my computer, and I thought, I'm going to call you. But don't worry, I got his number on my caller ID. Yeah, sure you do. No, I do. No, call that number back. It's not going to go through. It's a fake number. So I said, here's what you do. When they call you back, because she's like, what do I do? I said, when they call you back, tell them your husband deals with all this computer stuff. And his name is Carey, and give them my number. And she did, and they did, and I recorded it. And it is an hour and a half of pure joy. I kept that guy on the phone as long as we talked about India, curry, karma in Hindus, and their beliefs that when you do bad in this life, it will come back to you in the next. And he agreed with all of it. While he was encrypting my registry and telling me how impressed he was with my knowledge of India, while insisting he was in New York when he was calling me on a Mississippi number. I know he wasn't calling me from Mississippi. So I said, where are you at really? So we're calling from New York. I said, you're not calling me from New York. You're calling me from somewhere in India. No, I'm not. I said, you are. I have special equipment. I don't. I have special equipment that says you're calling from, I can't pinpoint it, but it's somewhere in India. Is it New Delhi? He says, yes, Delhi. I said, then why did you tell me in New York? And he says, well, we have virtual offices. I said, wait, stop. I have virtual offices all over the world too. These are the people you're talking to. But well, it's entertaining and fun. What's interesting is this guy does not hesitate for a second to answer any of my skepticism. I go, well, how do I know it's okay to let you into my computer? I'm just thinking, what will my customers say to me? And my business is dealing with customers, is helping customers, and I know how the majority of you guys think. So I pretended I was your average, ordinary, regular computer person, or a person that has a computer, and was a little skeptical but scared. If I've got a virus, I want it removed, what do I do? And he would do like a directory listing and then tell me those are viruses. It's like, that looks like a directory listing to me. So I don't want to give the whole thing away. It's humorous, it's entertaining. And what's more interesting is the tactics, how they have these seemingly knowledgeable answers that are completely made up and don't make, and when you think about what they say, it doesn't. One of the things I've noticed is no legitimate calls come through from anybody so far, all the reports, between my own personal experience and the customers I've talked to, anytime they receive these calls, the person has a Indian or Pakistani accent, always. And one of the things I found is when they're lying, they say okay and all right a lot. So they say, I need to get into your computer, okay? You have a virus, okay? Okay, so, and they say it over and over and over again. And I've noticed that when you're talking with somebody who's telling the truth, they don't say okay and all right at the end of every sentence, and they all do it. And the other thing that's funny is they all have been working in the department for 10 years. How long have you been there? 10 years? Wow, everybody I talked to has been there 10 years. It's kind of weird, isn't it? So they just make this stuff up. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, we are fat, stupid Americans, and fools and their money soon go separate ways, and I feel no sympathy for them. This is the person that's calling you to help you. So how do you handle that call? I would say, if you hang up on them or be nasty with them, they will continue to call you and call you and call you. So the best thing would be, do the same thing I did. Say, I got a guy who does my computers. Here's his name, here's his number, call him. Now it's best if if it's one of you ladies out there and you just say, it's my husband, he takes care of that stuff. That'll work every time. I haven't tried it with a man yet to see, if he just said, look, I have a computer guy. Chances are they're not going to call a computer guy. They're trying to take advantage of people who just don't know any better. So,
Call my wife.
yeah, well, you know what? I mean, there's a certain level of knowledge I think we should all have. It's not my goal to turn you all into computer techs because, I have a job to do and you're probably not interested in it. It's like, I don't want to learn how to fix my car, just show me where the gas goes and they'll take it to the mechanic for everything else. So these scams are going around and they're not just for viruses. The IRS calls and claims you've got an issue. This time of year, you'll get a lot of junk email about purchases that weren't actually made. I'm getting a bunch from Best Buy and Amazon. And when I hover over the link, I don't click on it, I just hover over it, the real link appears. And it's not amazon.com / it's something else, and that's how I know it's fake. That and the fact I didn't order anything. And if I was suspicious that an order went through Amazon, I wouldn't click on the email. I would go to Amazon, sign into my account by opening the browser, going to amazon.com, and look at my order history and see if the order's in there. I wouldn't do anything through the email. So that's how I avoid having my identity stolen. Now, even though I do everything okay, I still have credit card numbers stolen. And that just happened to me. Somebody paid $1,300 to Progressive Insurance. They should be pretty easy to find, shouldn't it? So when I asked the bank, how does this happen? They said, well, they probably just guessed numbers until some worked. Because I hadn't used that card in 18 months. And it's been locked up in my house. So I want to warn you also about these $350 computers that you can go to the store and buy. HP's got one, and I did a review on it, and it's the worst piece of junk I've had the displeasure of having to work on. It was brought to me initially by one of my customers for repair. And when I opened it up, there was nothing inside I could fix. What they did is they put what are almost laptop components into a mid-tower case. So it looks like a regular computer, but when you take the side panel off, it's basically empty inside and there's nothing to upgrade, there's nothing to fix. Once it's out of warranty, it would be cheaper for you to buy a new computer. So think twice about how much money you're going to save when you're looking at those price tags, because in this industry, generally speaking, you get what you pay for. And a $350 computer, well, let me put it to you this way. If I were to build you a computer Just Windows 8 or Windows 7 is $99 just for the operating system. So that leaves me $250 to build your computer, which is a case, power supply, motherboard, CPU, RAM, hard drive. And that's if the motherboard has the video built on board, the audio built on board, the networking's built on board. And if any one of those things break on that main board, the whole main board has to be replaced. So if you go into it with the right expectations, if you say, look, I know it's $329, it's $350 after shipping, I know what he said about it, it may not last, or if it breaks out of warranty, it's more expensive to fix than to buy a new one, I'm okay with that, then I'm okay with it. The problem is, a lot of people are looking at one computer next to another one, and they're saying, oh, this one's $500, this one's $350, I'll get the one for $350. You're not comparing apples to apples, no pun intended, because if it was an apple, it'd be $1,350. 2,350? Yeah. So, did you have any questions at this point before I continue? Yes.
You keep jumping over Vista.
Yeah.
What's the issue there? Because I happen to own a Vista.
Well, like I said, so for those who didn't hear the question, that I'm jumping over Vista, I'm not discussing Vista, because Vista's the next one that's going to be next to go. The issues with Vista have been addressed to the best of Microsoft's ability. If you're happy with it and it's doing everything you need it to do, don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise. When it first came out, it was a little wobbly on its legs, but it's fine now. But again, once the public has made up their mind, there's nothing Microsoft can do to reverse that. So they just have to let it go and move on to the next one.
But I'm still in no danger for viruses and stuff.
No, as long as you keep your Windows Vista updated, as you should by going to Windows Update, don't just trust automatic updates. You need to go to Windows Update and make sure that you're currently up to date. But if I type Windows Vista Lifecycle, I'm curious, I used to know this by heart, but it's been a long time. The Vista support, Microsoft calls it a Windows Lifecycle. And so if you Google Windows Lifecycle, you'll get this list right here. And you'll see that mainstream support for Vista, right there, that has Service Pack 2, which is the latest Service Pack. Mainstream support ended in April of 2012, and in April of 2017, you will be in the same position as XP is today. So you just want to make sure you get that Vista replaced by April of 2017. Any computer that runs Vista will run 7 if you want to upgrade it, or 8. I don't generally recommend that because then you have to find all the drivers and do all this other stuff. My advice is just buy a computer that has it already installed and was designed for it. Other questions about any tech topic before I change the tech topic? Yes?
Talk a little bit about updates.
Yeah, Windows updates. One of the best ways, I'm going to share with you something that's going to save you a lot of money. You don't have to pay for antivirus. You don't have to pay protection money. I don't. And it was funny because there's this stupid quiz on Facebook that says, what did you do in a former life? And it asks you 6 or 7 questions, and based on how you answered those questions, it says, here's what you did. So it says, you know, do you like guns? And do you do this? And are you violent? And like, no, no, no. And it says, you would have been a speakeasy owner during Prohibition. I said, that sounds about right. So what would happen, as you're well aware, back in those days, is you had guys that would come up and go, you got a nice place here. Be a shame if something were to happen to it. But they couldn't guarantee your protection 100% of the time. And Norton and McAfee and all the other paid antivirus programs, that's how I see them. You got a nice computer right there. That'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. Well, that'd be all well and good if they could guarantee nothing would happen to it. But whether the antivirus is free or paid, none of them can guarantee your safety 100%. It doesn't exempt you from safely surfing the internet and making the right decisions any more than buying a Volvo means you don't have to learn how to drive. I'm in a safe car, I don't need to learn how to drive, I'll be fine. Volvo would never ever say that you won't be killed or maimed, potentially, that if you want to drive the Volvo into a tree, that it won't let you. It will let you. If you insist on doing it, it will let you. So while they will brag about how safe their car is, they will not go to that extent to say that you won't be hurt. So the bottom line is you cannot simply say, I've got antivirus and therefore I will not get a virus and I can just do whatever the heck I want to. It doesn't work like that. Now, if a paid antivirus won't guarantee my protection and a free antivirus won't guarantee my protection, which one do you think I'm going to use? And some people say, well, aren't the paid ones better? Well, that depends on how you define better. With 75,000 on average, new viruses released each and every day onto the internet, depending on when the updates come out and what hour of the day that the antivirus program was tested, one may come out on top, and then 2 hours later, that one that was on top may come out on the bottom, depending on which threats are out at that time. What can you do? Well, one, when a computer problem occurs, it's usually when you've made a change to the computer, when you've added a program, removed a program, or significantly changed a program. That's not to say I'm discouraging you from doing that, but I would only do it if it's necessary, and I would only install programs that you know are trustworthy. So there's free programs, and then there's appear to be free programs, and the difference between them can be very confusing if you're not a technician. So everything I will talk to you about today will all be safe and free, and if you don't like the program, you can safely uninstall it. It won't cause any problem. Where people get into trouble is they're clicking on something that says to go any further, you have to click this link, whether you're trying to watch a video or read a news story, or there's something you need to download. And when you see that download, you should think 2 or 3 times about if that download is safe. People will see an update to Java. Should I update? Yes, you should, but read the screen, because Java likes to take over your search and replace it with Ask, the Ask search engine. They would like to replace your home page with the Ask page, and you're giving it permission when you click next. There's these little check boxes. And if you don't uncheck them, and then they go, well, how did that change? You said, you changed it. I didn't. You did. You just clicked next. You didn't read what was on the screen. And there's a great free utility called Unchecky. And it will uncheck those check boxes for you so you don't have to think about it for the most common programs like Java. So we're just taking the word uncheck and putting a Y after it. Unchecky.com. It's completely free. It installs in a matter of a minute and a half, something like that. Here it is, right there. It's compatible with XP and 7 and 8 and all the operating systems, consumer operating systems. It's very easy to download and install. In fact, I'll do it right here, because I've been meaning to put it on this computer. I'm just going to hit the download button. So right here is where people get themselves in trouble. When they hit that download button from some link somebody sent them or some website directed them to, then that's how their computer gets infected. So the question is the program you're downloading reputable and safe? And you can use Google to research that, or simply just stick with what you know. So here this box comes up to install it. I'm going to hit install. This is a known safe program. There, it's already installed. And now I've got this little icon right down here. That's Unchecky. You don't have to do anything with it. I didn't have to uncheck any boxes when I installed it to not get some potentially unwanted software, or as we call them, PUPs, P-U-P, potentially unwanted programs. Potentially unwanted programs are things like toolbars. If you go through your add remove programs on your computer, look for anything that says toolbar, take it out. Google toolbar, weather. These people, you folks want to see the weather and you download this weather app, it's consuming resources and slowing your computer down. You know what I do if I want to see the weather? I go up to Google or just go up to the search and I type weather. What's the zip code here? 85205. And look what happens. I don't need an app. I don't need to be consuming resources to have the weather updated every 5 seconds. I mean, if you do, just know that it's consuming resources. Windows has a resource monitor that will show you how many resources you're using, but the resource monitor uses resources. You understand? So let's get back to how you can protect yourself and how you can not spend any money to protect yourself. Well, that may be a little of exaggeration, but Windows updates. Yes?
Okay, so finish telling us, how does Unchecky work? When you're downloading something, does it automatically uncheck the box or what?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example of how Unchecky works. We've already installed it, right? And then Java pops up, and Java is one of the worst offenders, because Java is going to pop up with an update every 4 to 6 weeks. And every time you go to install it, it's got those checkboxes. It wants to install the McAfee Security Center, or it wants to install the AST tool. It's random on what deals they made with sponsorships. They get paid every time that gets installed, and that's how they can offer Java for free. But you don't have to be a sheep and just click next. You can just take a minute and read what's on the screen, or let Unchecky do it for you. Now, Unchecky doesn't work with all programs. It only works with the most common, the most popular. So here, we're going to download Java. So I'm going to say free Java download, agree, run. I think this has Java on it already, but it should still install regardless. So what you guys do, in general, because I know I'm a tech and I talk to folks, is you click next, 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 next until it's done. So if you want to do that with Java and Unchecky, you can, because Unchecky will uncheck those boxes automatically when they pop up, and a little window will appear. In fact, let's close that. Let's hit install. So it's downloading the installer, and then what's about to happen, it's going to take about 30 seconds. You'll see a window appear down in the right corner here, and it's going to it's nothing you have to do anything about. It's just alerting you, I found 2 checkboxes and I've unchecked them for you. And this will work with a number of programs that are free on the internet, like uTorrent, and you'd actually have to go to the website unchecky.com to see the list. But once it's installed, you don't have to think about it. It just works on its own. But because it doesn't work with every program, you still need to stop for a minute and look at what's on your screen, or you may end up with a toolbar you didn't want, or having your home page changed, or McAfee Security Center. Now you see it says a potentially unwanted program offer was rejected. Click here for more details. And you see this checkbox right here? It wanted to install the search app by Ask. Most people just click next. They do not uncheck that box. Yes?
Get rid of that ask, what's this on there? I've got it.
Say again?
That ask, how do I get rid of it? I don't want it.
So one of the ways, the best way is to just simply go to your control panel and go to Programs and Features, and it'll show all the programs that are installed, including Ask and the toolbar, etc. And I look through that list, and if I see more than one copy of Java, and I don't know which one's the latest, I just take them all out, and then I'll go to Java when I'm done and download the latest. You should only have one Java. You should have one Flash version 15. If you're not sure if you have the latest version, take it out and go get it. And if you're replacing the same thing with the same version, no harm done. It's free.
She wants to know how to get rid of the ask.
He just
Well,
told her.
that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's how you get rid of it. You go to Programs and Features.
Yeah, but you uninstall ask, not Java.
No, I'm saying while you're in Programs and Features, if you see numerous versions of Java, take them all out while you're there. All of this,
Oh, that's a version of Java?
no,
No.
no. Ask and Java are completely unrelated. Ask is paying Java money every time somebody doesn't uncheck that box. That's how Java can give itself away for free. Ask makes money by providing search results they charge people for. So this is the cost of free. Once you have this stuff on your system, the question is, how do I get it off? And so I'm sorry if I've confused you, but what I'm saying is, while you're in the Add Remove Programs area and you're looking for Ask, look for other things you don't want. Now, a lot of people say, I don't know what this stuff is. Then leave it alone. But the stuff you do know, for example, anything that has the word toolbar.
Okay.
The same thing over and over again. Java version 5, Java version 6, Java version, why do I have 3? Take them all out while you're there. Just take them out. And then download the latest one and make sure those boxes are unchecked when you download the latest one. And then you may have to reset your home page, which is just depending on if you use Firefox or Chrome or Internet Explorer, you have to follow the procedures for that browser and that version of that browser. Yes?
When you update, it'll like, yesterday you just did a Windows update, and then you look down through and all these other updates are still there. Do you get rid of those?
There shouldn't be any updates still there. Yeah. So what I recommend, I'm going to cancel this. First free tip was unchecky, right? So everybody's got that. Let's move to the next one, Windows Update. This is completely free. If you don't know how to find Windows Update, just type in WU, that's short for Windows Update, app, which is short for application, WU-APP, and hit enter. And that works on, I have to type it right, but that works on all versions of Windows.
What is it, WU?
Windows Update Application, WU-APP. Then hit the button here that says check for updates, and you'll see important updates. Now the important updates are selected for you automatically. The optional ones are not, and there are several important optional updates that will improve your computer's performance and reliability that are not mandatory. So I recommend you check every single box and get every single update, so when that comes up, it says there's no more updates. And here's the mistake a lot of people make. You get a brand new computer and you run this, there's probably going to be, on Windows 8, 70 to 100 updates right out of the box. And there are going to be another 30 or so updates to those previous updates, but you won't see those until after you install the first updates, reboot, and go back. So you need to repeat the process time and again until it comes back and it says what mine says. No updates are available. Okay, so that's step 2 to keep yourself protected. Yes?
My laptop is almost always, when I open it up, installing an update automatically from Windows. Those are okay to let.
Yeah, you want the automatic ones. If it's happening every day, every second Tuesday of the month is Patch Tuesday. That's when Microsoft releases the updates. If every time you turn your computer on it says configuring an update, then there's something stuck that needs to be fixed. And the only way you're going to know what that is by going to Windows Update and trying to manually install it. And if it fails, it'll give you an error code, and you go to Google and you type in update is KB10524 or whatever the number is, space error 1024, and then start looking through the results if you want to try and fix it yourself. Google's a great resource, by the way, and it really ticks me off with these kids today. Yeah, I'm there already. They will ask questions that they could have just typed into Google. And you know, when you go to Google, let's bring it up here. At least with, I'm not sure if this uses, I typically use Chrome. But you can actually talk to Google. You see the little microphone right here? You don't even have to type you can ask your question. Let's see if I can do this. Who is Carey Holzman? It was close.
According to Wikipedia, Carey Holzman is an IT professional, author, freelance journalist, and former co-host of Craig Crossman's nationally syndicated radio show, Computer America.
It's nice when things work like they're supposed to. I was afraid that was going to bring up somebody totally different that you knew that was going to happen, right? But it worked. So you don't even have to type. These kids, they don't even have to type, and they'll still go, what's the difference between a solid-state hard drive and a regular hard drive? So there's this great website that I send them to, and it's called Let Me Google That For You, LMGTFY. And it's very sarcastic, and I love it. So when somebody sends me that, I copy their question. I highlight it with the mouse, and I hit Control-C. That copies it, right? So let's pretend I did that. What is the difference? What is the difference between a solid-state drive and a hard disk drive? And now it gives us a link right here, which we can shorten that, and then I just get this little link and I send it back to them in email, just this little tiny link. And when they click on it, Here's what it does. So they're asking for an answer to the question. They go to this website, watch what the website does. You see this? Step 2? Step 3 was that so hard? The knowledge of mankind is available at our fingertips, and I know that those in this room can appreciate that, because when we were growing up, and I'm a generation or two after you, when I was growing up in the 70s, I was born in the 60s, so when I was growing up in the 70s, if you wanted to write a book, or even the 80s or the 90s, if you wanted to write a book or start a band, have your own show, radio show, you needed someone else's approval. Now you don't need anybody's approval. You want to publish your own book, you go to Amazon, you write it, publish it. You don't even need a proofreader. You could have all the misspellings and poor grammar, all you want. Nobody is stopping you. If you want to start your own band and record your own music and release it, you don't need anybody's approval anymore. You can do anything you want to do. And information that's available on Google. I've told this story numerous times. I was at home once, and there was a little pink pill on the floor. I thought, what's this? And I looked at the pill, and there's a number on all the pills. They have some kind of a code. And I typed in the description, pink pill, code 1024, and it came up as a thyroid medication. Well, the only person I know with a thyroid medication is my mother. Now, this could be an 8-cent pill or an $8 pill. I don't know. If it's an $8 pill, you just wipe it off and you use it, right? So I call my mom. I'm like, she goes, yeah, that's my pill. Throw it away. It's cheap. But otherwise, I would have never known what that pill was. I would have never, ever known. So, real quick with Google, you get a tracking number from UPS in an email. It says we've shipped it, and here's your tracking. It's usually like 1Z85. Highlight that, hit Control-C to copy it. Go to Google, just punch the Control-V of the tracking number, and the first link that appears is the tracking link to UPS. It automatically knows that's a UPS tracking number. It's that simple. So I want to get back to securing yourself, making yourself safe on the internet. So we talked about Unchecky, we talked about Windows updates. Both of these are completely free, completely safe. If there's any reason you don't like Unchecky, simply uninstall it. It will not cause any harm to your computer. So the next thing you can do to protect yourself is there's this little browser add-on, and it's called Web of Trust. And what Web of Trust is, let's go through the process of installing it. The website is mywot, that's Web of Trust, mywot.com. And if you have Firefox and Explorer and Chrome, you have to download this individually on each browser from that browser. So if I want to install this on Chrome, I got to launch Chrome. If I want to install it on Explorer, I got to launch Explorer. And this button changes. See, right now it says download add-on for Chrome because I'm in Chrome. So I click the download button, and it's very fast. I just hit add, and right up on the top right corner of the screen, you're going to see a little donut appear, a little green donut. See it? Okay. That tells me that site is safe. Who decides if a site is safe or not? You do. The people who use the product do. You don't have to. But if you sign up for an account, you can mark a site as safe or not safe or unknown if you know for a fact that it is. But here's what happens now that we've got this installed. Let's close this out, and we'll open it up again. Now watch, whenever I do a Google search for anything, so if I do a search for Dell support, this gets a lot of people. Remember those fake support? What about when you contact fake support? What happens? How do you know if a site's real or not? So this has happened. Customer says, I'm having a problem with my Dell. I say, you need to talk to Dell. You know what they do? They type in Dell support. And inevitably, they click on a link that is not really Dell, but appears to be Dell. And when the people answer the phone, they answer it as Dell. So you're seeing all these little green dots next to my search results. There's a green dot, I don't know if you can see right there. There's one there. Okay, that tells us all of these sites are safe. What I'm doing for this demonstration is I'm looking for a red one. Okay, here's a red one right here. Now, let's say you're not paying attention to the red or the green, and you click on a red one. What happens next? Check this out. Warning, this website has a poor reputation based on user settings. Go to the site anyway or go back. Now, if you click go to the site anyway, please don't call me. No, you can call me, I'm just kidding. But, you know, it's like, you should know better. That's there to help you protect your, and this helps you to, people say, well, how do I know a good site from a bad site? Well, this will teach you. As you start going to different sites, start paying attention to where it's trying to go. You can see I'm going to www.iyogi.net. That does not look like Dell to me. It would start with Dell.com. That's how I know. It's not that difficult. Yes?
Don and I have tried to install Web of Trust on my computer, and it keeps saying you need a higher version of Internet Explorer than 6, and we've got 11 on the computer. What's the problem?
You probably have some kind of a registry issue somewhere that I've seen that happen before, where it's not acknowledging the actually version that you have installed. I couldn't tell you what the fix is. I'd have to look at it. But that will crop up with other things as well. It won't just be the Web of Trust. Anything that tries to attach itself to Internet Explorer. I wouldn't be surprised if you tried going to your bank and it said you need a newer version of Internet Explorer to log into the bank. Because usually when that registry setting is changed, it affects things like anything secure like the bank. Yes?
Along those same lines, now with my laptop, if I want to get into my email, which is on Yahoo, when I go open up through Internet Explorer and click sign in, it says your Explorer does not support this. I can go to Google then to Yahoo from Google, and it'll open it up.
Yeah, so for people who can't hear the question, what we're talking about are basically computer errors. There's something wrong in the computer. And it could be any of thousands of different things. So one of the ways that you can speed your computer up, first of all, there's these programs like System Mechanic and System Optimizer, and my recommendation is stay away from all of those. There is a lot of free programs that you can download and run that will give you the same or better results than any of those programs. So what I would, the two of you specifically, although everybody in this room would benefit from this, there's a free program called the Junkware Removal Tool, or JRT. And I'm just going to type JRT into Google. And the very first link is from a website called bleepingcomputer.com. Bleeping Computer. See it right on the screen there. Bleep it. Maybe I can make it bigger. Bleeping Computer, the very top one. That's the very first search result right there. Junkware Removal Tool. Right? That's the very first one. Okay? So when I bring this up, it says download now, author's site. I want to download JRT and I want to save it. And pay, you might want to pay attention to where it's saving it to. And if I scroll down here, you'll see it offers me a couple other free programs: ADW Cleaner, Combo Fix, RKill, and TDSS Killer. The second one I'm going to recommend is ADW Cleaner. That's Adware Cleaner. And I typically run JRT, and after JRT's finished, I run ADW. And I let it clean anything it finds. I don't even look at what it found. I don't even care. I trust it. If it says there's something on this computer that doesn't belong there, I believe it and tell it to get rid of it. And then I reboot the computer. And suddenly the computer's running faster and these bizarre errors often go away. Not always, but it certainly shouldn't hurt anything. Now this is for Windows. So again, we'll hit the ADW Cleaner there and download now. That's the button you want. Now you notice which download button I'm hitting because I'm doing it pretty quickly. You'll see this a lot. There's numerous downloads. There's a download here, there's a download here. Visit the author's site doesn't help me because the author's site is in French. Does anybody here speak French? Yeah, it doesn't help me. So I just download it directly from Bleeping Computer. Bleeping Computer is a trusted resource. And if you want to try and remove a virus infection or solve a computer problem on your own with some assistance from strangers on the internet, there are volunteers there that will help you. Some are better than others and some advice is better than others, but same can be said for me. So I suppose for all of us. Those two programs, JRT and ADW Cleaner, you should all run on your systems and remove anything it finds. And then reboot. The next tool I like to run to keep me safe on the internet. And this is the only tool I will pay for, by the way. It's called Malwarebytes. Now the reason I would pay for this is they used to have a lifetime license where you paid 30 bucks and you were good for the life of the computer. You never had to pay again. Well, wouldn't you know, that's not a business model that's sustainable. So they've changed it to a yearly fee, which is still a deal. It's a quality product. And Malwarebytes has a free version and a paid version. The difference between them is that the free version will not prevent any infections. It will only do its best to clean up infections you already have. And all of these programs, JRT, ADW Cleaner, and Malwarebytes, will find stuff the other ones don't find. So I recommend running all three of them. But to protect yourself from future infections, I recommend paying for Malwarebytes. I'm not making any money off of this. I'm not giving you any promo codes. I'm not giving you any links. This is just malwarebytes.org, which you can see right up there on the screen. I can make that bigger if you want. Well, I can't make that part bigger, but
.org?
.org or .com will work too. And you'll see there's numerous downloads here. It says buy premium or free. It all points to the same downloadable file. So just get the free version. Start with that. You'll get a 15-day trial of the full functioning protection. And then I would uninstall any antivirus. If you brought your computer to me for repair, if you had Norton, if you had McAfee, if you had Kaspersky, if you had AVG, if you have Avira, I would ask you, can I take that off, please? What are you going to put on? Well, Windows 8 comes with Windows Defender. Windows 7 and Windows Vista and XP, you can use, well, you can't really use it on XP anymore, Windows Security Essentials, which is the same program renamed to Windows Defender that comes with Windows 8. So if you have Windows 7 and you don't have, you have some other antivirus, you would simply download the Microsoft Security Essentials right from Microsoft. And in fact, when you visit Windows Update without antivirus, it should offer it to you as a download. And that is free. It auto-updates. There's no pop-ups like AVG and Avira. There's no uninstalling and reinstalling every year like with Norton and McAfee and Kaspersky. It just runs and you just forget about it. Now, as far as an antivirus program goes, it sucks. But what we're really concerned about is mostly the stuff that's caught by Malwarebytes and caught by JRT. Viruses aren't so much of an issue like they used to be. There's still some pretty nasty ones out there, but things like CryptoLocker that encrypts your hard drive. I don't know if you're aware of this. There's a virus called CryptoLocker. And there's numerous versions or variations of it. And what it does is it takes your My Documents folder, it encrypts it with a password, and it says you have 72 hours to send us $200 to get your password, your key, to unlock your files. After that, we destroy the key and nobody can get it back. And this is true, and it is so true that I'm going to show this to you because you probably won't believe me if I tell you. There's a city in Massachusetts, the Swansea Police Department. Yep, there it is, $750. Because the Swansea Police Department had a computer with all of their evidence and case files on it, encrypted with this virus, and had to pay the hackers in Bitcoin, untraceable money, to get those files back. The police paid the criminals. I think they did this on The Good Wife, if you ever watched that show. They had a similar story that was, I think this was the inspiration for that story. So it's real, okay? When you call me and you say, what can I do to get around this? Do you think I have a way around it? If they don't? And Norton will not protect you from this virus. Kaspersky won't protect you from this. There are no antivirus as far as I know. There are specialty programs that are designed specifically, but this is why we talk about backing up data. This is exactly why. Because you just don't know when it's going to happen. And the one thing everybody who's ever lost data has in common is none of them expected it to happen. So we always make copies of important things. We call them backups. I don't know why in this industry we have to come up with our own words. You're just making copies, that's it. If it's important, make copies. Okay, we got some questions. Let's talk about some questions here. Go ahead.
I
You can
just
hold.
needed a clarification. You are not, or are you suggesting that we delete Windows Defender when we download these programs? Yes or no?
No, I'm simply saying that
Okay.
you can't have Windows Defender if you've already got an antivirus.
Okay.
So if you're happy with your antivirus, fine, keep it. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. But if it was me, like I've had people say to me, I still have, I just paid it for my Norton. I still have 9 months or 10 months of it left. And to me, that's like having a big plate of food at the buffet, and you're insisting you're going to eat it, despite whatever health effects that's going to have. Because gosh darn it, you paid $12.95 for it, and if it's a $50,000 surgery later, you know what I mean? There's a point where you should just cut, in my opinion, just cut your losses. Consider it a lesson learned, get rid of it, sooner the better. You don't have to, that's just my perspective. I have this attitude where people generally have time or they have money. Most people don't have both.
Am I paying for Windows Defender?
No, Windows Defender is free. I'm recommending that if you're going to install Windows Defender, you must first uninstall whatever antivirus you've got. So, and in most cases we're talking, when I deal with most customers, they're paying for Norton or they're paying for McAfee. They're paying for whatever the system included, and the trial ran out and it was just easier to just give them the credit card and keep going. And if you're happy with that, fine. But if you're tired of paying protection money, uninstall those and replace them with Windows Defender. Windows Defender you don't have to install. It's part of Windows 8. But Microsoft Security Essentials is Windows Defender in Windows 7 and prior versions of Windows. Yes?
What's your opinion of Avast?
Just like I said, no different. I don't like it. Avast is going to pop up with advertisements and try and get you to buy the full product. Avast has a firewall that will block you from like installing HP printers until you go in there and you change it. There are people that love these programs and they're very passionate about them, and that's great. I'm not one of them. Okay, so when people ask me my opinion, which you have to understand that this is just my opinion, right? And you know what they say about those. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if I was a professional chef and you said, are these chicken wings hot and spicy? And I said, no, and you bit into them and your mouth is on fire. I mean, I'm the professional chef, I know, right? They're not hot and spicy. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Who's right, who's wrong? The only way you can make that determination is for you to try it yourself. But I don't want you just going out there and trying anything because you're going to get yourself in trouble. So I just want you to try these free, safe things. And if you like them, good. And if you don't, you know, if you're happy with what you've got, don't fix it. But if you're tired of paying the money, if you're tired of having to uninstall a Avira every single year and find a new free version and download it and reinstall it, which you have to do with AVG and Avira and Avast every single year, all you have to do is put Security Essentials or Windows Defender and never think about it ever again for the life of that computer. Yes, sir?
I've been using Windows all my life.
All your life?
All my life.
You've been around since 1981?
Anyway. My youngest son
That's too early.
is very savvy with computers, but he's Apple. He's wanting me to
Kind of
change
jump.
to Apple for years.
Yes, yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
The difference between PC and Apple is basically the question. In general, Apple is better for a consumer and the PC is better for a business, in general. With Apple, you're going to pay a lot more. You're going to have 10% of the choices with Apple. Okay? Okay, all right. Okay? Here's the thing with Apple. You pay a lot more and it just works, but you're restricted, okay? So if I told you, I can guarantee you'll never fall down and hurt yourself, get in this wheelchair and never come out of it. And it's a $6,000 wheelchair. You will never fall down and hurt yourself. Now you might say, well, geez, Carey, I kind of like my freedom. Well, it's one or the other. Apple restricts your freedom. And there's plenty of people I've talked to that said, I'm fine with that because I don't trust myself. I'm not one of those people. I will not have my freedom restricted by Apple or anybody else, and I certainly won't pay top dollar for it. But when you want to go buy a piece of hardware for your Apple computer, you may have a choice of 2 or 3 different parts. In the PC world, you may have a choice of 2,000 or 3,000 different parts, ranging in price from all over the map. In the Apple world, they're all going to be very similar. In the PC world, you might struggle to get them to work. In the Apple world, you're just going to plug it in, it's just going to work. You pay more for that convenience and those restrictions. I can download all kinds of apps, say on an Android, but in order to make an app available on an iPhone, Apple has to approve it first. That doesn't exist anywhere else. That's just Apple being very controlling. I'm very controlling, so that doesn't fit well with me. That doesn't make it a bad product. I'm just trying to set your expectations. You very rarely talk to an Apple owner who is not happy with their Apple. So in the consumer space, the benefit is because so few people use Apples, it is often not the target of viruses. If you were going to create a product and you can sell it to people who owned Fords, or you could sell it to people who own Saabs, which one's going to give you the greater sales in the United States? The Ford, by far and long. You could potentially have more clients. And that's all they're doing. They're simply trying to be as effective as possible. It's not because Apple is more secure. Folks that use Apple would have you believe that. If we all switched to Apple and only a few people use Windows, the whole thing would flip-flop the other way, and Windows would be safer to use. So you just stop becoming a target, if you will, when you use a platform. It's called security through obscurity. That's what that's called. Yeah.
While on the subject of Malwarebytes, what's your feeling on Malwarebytes Registry Cleaner?
Any registry cleaner is pretty much a waste of time. With Windows 7, or actually Windows Vista and beyond, even Windows XP, really. These programs like CCleaner might make you feel good, that you've cleaned out a few hundred or 1,000 megabytes of junk files. But I mean, with hard drives being as big as they are today, what difference does it make? And any registry entries, it removes the registry entries that are being skipped over anyway. It's not actually looking at fixing the registry, it's just saying that these items are orphaned and are being bypassed and overlooked, so we'll just take them out and make the registry smaller. I would challenge any of you to grab a stopwatch and time how long it takes your computer to start, and then run any tool you want, CCleaner, any registry cleaner, any system mechanic, any PC optimization tool. None of them work. They work in the sense that psychologically you feel better. That's all they do. They may make a slight 1 second, 2 second difference, maybe. The older your computer is, the more likely you are to see a result. But there's an article in PC World magazine that I copied and I put it on my Facebook page that they tested all of these different utilities that claim to speed up a computer and did it in an environment that was a testing environment, and found that no significant improvement whatsoever from any of the programs, free or paid. So they don't necessarily hurt either.
But you're talking about the registry cleaner. CCleaner gets rid of a lot of temporary files and crap that
Yeah.
you want to get rid of.
Yeah, CCleaner will, if you're worried about your privacy and things like that, yeah, CCleaner will help with that. If you're worried about just freeing up your hard drive space, CCleaner will help with that, and it's safe to use. And I always use the portable version of CCleaner. I don't install CCleaner, because you always want to run the latest version, and by using the portable version, it forces me to go get whatever the latest version is, instead of being lazy and using what I have installed. And CCleaner nowadays should auto-update, but to put a program on to clean up programs doesn't make sense to me. I much prefer to use a portable version. It is safe to use, but the benefits of it are questionable.
Is that a RoboForm in Sigma?
Yes, yeah, I use RoboForm.
So do I.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I do too.
There was a question back here somewhere. Somebody said, yes?
Yeah, with several search engines out there, do you have to actually download like the Web of Trust, or does that load down onto your computer, or does it depend on the search engine you're in?
So Web of Trust will work with any of the search engines. It's a browser add-on. So Web of Trust is specific to the browser. So if you have Internet Explorer, you need to visit Web of Trust in Internet Explorer to add it to Internet Explorer.
And that would be the same for Firefox?
And Chrome and Opera and all the rest, yeah. Yep, absolutely. How am I on time? Are we good on time?
Another 5 minutes maybe.
5 minutes, is that it? You guys better start asking your questions while I'm here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, your Malwarebytes, how much does that cost for the year?
Malwarebytes, I think, is $30 a year. And there's usually coupon codes, especially this time of year, where you can get it for like $10 or $15 if you look around. And if you look really hard, you can still find a lifetime license. If you own a lifetime license, it will still work with the latest version of Malwarebytes. So try and get those lifetime licenses while you can, because you install it once and you never have to pay for it ever again.
On that computer.
On that specific computer, yes.
You look where for it?
Google it. Google,
okay.
Start doing some Google searches. Look at Amazon. Look at reputable resellers like Newegg and Tiger Direct and Buy.com, which is now Rakuten.com. There's deals.com, and there's a bunch of bargain sites like Woot, W-O-O-T, that show you a bunch of stuff. Those are dangerous because you'll find a lot of stuff is so cheap you don't need it, but you can't pass the deal up. So I unsubscribed from those because I was buying a lot of stuff I didn't need, and some of it's still sitting unopened in boxes on my office floor that I will get to one day. Yes, sir.
Do you have experience with movie editors?
Do I have experience with movie editors? I use a very simple editor for my YouTube videos called Cyberlink Power Director. That's the one I like. It's very movie maker-like. Most of them are so complicated, like Sony Vegas and Adobe Premiere. I don't know where to. I don't want to be an editor.
Is it easy to learn?
Simple. If you've ever used Movie Maker, you can use Power Director.
That's what I've come down to.
Yes.
Question that's related to service here. The first night we were here, I was able to get on the internet service.
So the first night, I'm going to repeat what you say so everybody can hear you. The first night you were here,
I was able to get on the
Wi-Fi here.
Wi-Fi right from the motorhome.
Yeah.
Ever since then, even with the computer room,
You haven't been able to get on?
I haven't been able, it'll say I'm on,
Nothing happens.
or with limited service.
Yeah.
But when I tried to open up the web, it said you're not connected. No.
If I had a nickel for every one of these resorts I visit, and people ask me that question, that is all under control by the resort, and it's nothing to do with you. I mean, if you can take your laptop to Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever and it connects, it's not you. And I'm very leery, and I recommend you be very leery of using any internet that does not belong to you. Now, I don't mean it's included with the fees of the park. I mean it's specifically in your name, dedicated to you, because that's open, and anybody could theoretically eavesdrop on anything you're doing. So if you're paying bills, if you're doing banking, I wouldn't do it. I would have my own dedicated, one of two things. I'd either have, Cox or Quest have a hard line, or I'd get an air card from my cellular phone provider and plug the air card in, and no matter where I go, I will have a quality and consistency of service that is also secure, versus this, well, now I'm here and the service is that way or it's questionable. And then when there's something wrong, you have somebody to call and complain to. So that is a big issue in these parks, because a lot of people feel, hey, I'm paying for it, it's supposed to be included. That's between you and them. Yes?
How vulnerable are computers that are connecting to their router by Wi-Fi?
How vulnerable is it? Well, assuming you've got WPA2 security set in your router, not vulnerable at all. Anything else, probably quite vulnerable. Yeah. So, and again, it's only going to be vulnerable in the broadcast range of your router. So if you're broadcasting your Wi-Fi.
In this vicinity, I've got dozens of.
Yeah, but it's not, like if you're in an apartment complex in New York, you're going to have dozens of people that could potentially access it. Here it's not too bad. And generally you know your neighbors here, so I don't know how many of your neighbors are hackers, but it's always best to be on the safe side and just use WPA2 on your security. Yes?
A laptop, the AT&T cellular, that's mine.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's yours. It's completely safe. What's not safe, let me tell you what's not safe. Somebody could be looking over your shoulder. This one I love. I love this one. Oh, by the way, I don't even want to get started with this. People, you don't have a smartphone? You would think 3 hours later over Thanksgiving dinner, we're still discussing why I don't have a smartphone. But you're a tech. You would, it's like these people suddenly get paid to sell me a smartphone. People with smartphones are the best salesmen for smartphones. It's the strangest thing I've ever experienced. But here's something you need to watch out for. Yeah, you need my credit card number? And you're in a public place. It's 4481. 4481. You can have all the best security in the world. If you're going to do that, it doesn't matter. How am I on time? One more? Can I do one more? One more question.
What do you have to say about Linux?
Linux? Linux is great if your time is worth nothing. Linux is very restrictive. Linux is free. But I think some of the best people, the people who would benefit from it the most, the applications that they need aren't available on it. So if you're a technical person or you're a tinkerer and you like to solve puzzles and you like to learn things, I find as I get older, I don't have the motivation like I did when I was a kid. I don't have the time to sit there and figure something out. I'm gonna stick with what I know, get it done, and move on to the next thing. With Linux, I have to start all over from scratch again. How do I find drivers? How do I install them? And there's plenty of help out there, and there's plenty of great Linux distributions out there, and if you want to play with it, I encourage you to do so. However, know what you're getting yourself into. It can be very rewarding, it can be very frustrating. I would say if you're a technical person, it's right up your alley. Some people are just anti-Microsoft, and they'll just do anything to stay away from Microsoft, and that's right up their alley too. There's a lot of different versions of Linux. I would start with a beginner's Linux, if you will, but it's easier to install. Linux, I want to say Ubuntu or Mint are supposed to be easy to install. Anybody can correct me. I'm not a Linux expert, so I'm just going off what I've heard. But unfortunately, when you're in business, and the idea is to make money, you need to be able to pick up a phone and call somebody when something's wrong. You need a finger to point blame to, and you can't do that with Linux. You could with Red Hat, but that wasn't free. And so because I'm mostly about business, that's how I stay in business, I don't have time to deal with Linux. There's no money in it. I don't deal with Apple because there's no money in it. There's not enough Apple computers out there for me to sustain a business. So it doesn't make the products bad. It's just a different perspective. I hope that's clear. Listen, I appreciate you guys coming out today and seeing me. I hope that y'all will run these applications I've talked about and give them a shot. You might be shocked at what you find on your computer. Is this a quick one?
Do you have any newsletter or anything?
I don't have a newsletter or anything like that. I have my YouTube page, which is just my name, careyholzman.com. I still have some business cards left. I'm almost out of them, but happy to give them out if you'd like. What's that? This video, assuming it recorded okay, will be up on my YouTube page, and you'll be able to watch it there as well. And I've got a number of how-to videos and other presentations. Over 150 videos are on YouTube. My name is spelled let me bring it up, C-A-R-E-Y-H-O-L-Z-M-A-N. Okay, and it's on my business card. It's on my business card if you want to see my spelling of my name. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks a lot, Carey. Excellent.
Thank you.
And the good news is we got Carey coming back, I believe, sometime in February, early February.